So I got it. Hello and welcome back to my channel. Recently I've been having issues with all my retro game systems where when I turn the unit on, the date and time has to be reset every time. And I've got a couple of videos out there, but the Sega Dreamcast ended up being a battery issue, or if you can replace the battery, it powered their SRAM chip that kept the memory. GameCube had the same issue with that, so I was able to fix those. The Xbox has been a little different though. It's a little more complex, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. So here's the issue with the Xbox. It doesn't need a battery replaced, but it needs a capacitor. But once I started doing a little bit of research on it, I realized it was a little bit more than worrying about the date and time. The capacitors in these models have a really bad issue where they leak and destroy the motherboards. For the earlier models have the problem, one of the later models does not, and I'll show you a chart what I'm talking about for what versions. Okay, so I'm going to turn the Xbox on and use the settings menu to find out which BIOS that I have in my system, so we'll know which one that we're working with. Okay, so you're going to toggle down the settings, and you're going to go down to System Info. Now this is going to take a couple seconds, but it will scroll down, and then we can see which BIOS which BIOS we're using. So I'm using I have the 1.00 BIOS, so I have this one actually has the first BIOS in it. So being the first version, I'm definitely going to need to replace the capacitor in the unit. Okay, so I'm going to start taking the unit apart so we can get down to the motherboard and replace that capacitor. Get that off. Okay, so now we should be able to remove the top. All right, set that aside. Okay, so now we need to get down into the motherboard. So obviously we got a hard drive here. We got to get the CD-ROM out. So let's start by removing the hard drive. Okay. So we need to change it. Looks like that's another Torx. It's a little bit smaller bit. Yep. Okay. that'll allow us to remove the hard drive nuts. Okay, so the hard drive is out. Let's move the CD-ROM. So if you see it back here, I'm gonna unplug it from back here. I'm gonna unplug cable. Looks like we've got a couple screws. I've got one down here and one over there. Alright, so that fits. Alright, so that screws a little bit further down in there. So I'm going to have to use a hand screwdriver to get that one out. Alright, so use a hand. Let's see if we can get this one out. Okay, there's screw one. Okay, so there's a screw here that I got out, and there's one also down here. See if I can zoom in enough so you can see it. The screw here needs removed also. That should release the CD-ROM. Awesome. Now I'm going to leave these two screws in. There are a couple things I've been finding out when I take these units apart is if you can put them kind of in the same area they're at, they're a lot less likely to lose them. Okay, so let's go ahead and remove the cable. And let's move the power supply. Let's throw this out. Okay. And a couple more here just to attach. Got this one here. So I believe all the cables are undone. There's one back here. Okay, now that the CD-ROM's out, we need to take these cables off so we can get the motherboard out. So we got a plug here, we've got one there, we've got one here, we do have one here. Looks like that's done, and actually back here we have one for the fan. This is dirty in here too, so this is going to need cleaned up. Okay, so now we've got some other Torx screws we need to get the board out. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, it looks like, screws that we need to remove. Okay, it looked like we had 11 screws that I removed. So let's go and get the board out. Just kind of lift it and let it slide out. Okay. Okay, we'll set the case aside. Okay, so let's see what we're getting into here. Okay, so for the 1.0 version, you look real close, you can see the capacitor is right here, and it's C7G10. So this is the one that we're going to remove. I can see a little bit of residue down there. I don't really see any damage, so maybe we're lucky. It's a little dirty too. So I'm going to pull the capacitor out, clean it up, and replace it. So we're going to need, zoom back out a bit. So we're going to need flux. We need a wick. We're going to need solder. And we're going to need an extractor. Alright, let's get to it. I am going to mark what I'm taking off here. Zoom back in so we can get a good view. So we're moving this one here and this one there. Okay. All right, we're gonna put some flux on here. Okay. I'll lay the board down on a pull there. We'll wait for the iron to heat up, and I'll be right back. Actually, I'm going to try a little bit of wick first to see if I can get it out with the wick. Okay, let me test it again. Okay. I'm going to try a different method. I've been told if you put more solder back on old solder that this should allow it to reflow. Not sure how true that is. Let me turn up my try a little bit more flux. Okay. Now let's try to heat it and see if the extractor works. Back to some of the wick here. One thing I've learned with the wick is leave the iron on longer than you think, because that will heat up it won't just automatically just go in. You're going to have to set the wick on there a little longer than you expect. Let's see if I can do the same with this guy here. Okay, let me try just a little more flux. this a different way. Try to heat it on one side and pull it away on the other side. Okay. Back in there a little bit. So I was able to get one side out pretty well. Problem is the solder gets down on this. It's not allowing me to suck it out. Cannot get it hot enough. Again, I'm going to try to heat it and then pull on the other side. See if this thing will release. Does feel like it's wanting to move. The bottom one's coming really loose. This top one is just the one giving me fits. Okay, so I got it. So the method that worked, what ended up working was using the tip of the solder gun, sticking it down in, and then pulling on the other side and loosening one side, then loosening the other one, and loosening, go back and forth and back and forth. But it did finally release. So now we're going to put the new one back in. I am going to see if I can get the rest of the solder out now, since there's not a pin in there. I don't know if this is going to work, but I am going to definitely give it a shot. And that did it. Okay, I'm sorry about the noise for the fan. Okay, so I went ahead and ordered capacitor kits for everything. I'm not going to change all the capacitors on this trip. I am just going to change the clock capacitor, which is the little blue one. So the original has a 2.5, but you can move up to a 2.7 on the voltage. And again, I'm kind of new, but so the long stem is your positive, the short stem is your negative. You can also, if it's a white stripe, it's negative. So if you see here, the top pin is going to be the positive, and that'll be the negative. So you want the stripe, either go to this or use the positive to get it here. So we're going to go ahead and put this back in, or put this in. Get it nice and tucked in there. Okay. And now that it's in, I'm going to kind of bend them over just a little bit. That keeps it from having to move it. Okay. And now we're going to flux it up. I'm going to tend my iron here. I'm going to turn the fan back on, and I'll be just walking, and I'll get back with you in just a minute. Okay, it didn't take long. Make sure that's in there good. Let me get a little brush, wipe that back. See if I can get some of that flux off of there to make sure that is a good seal. Let me go a little bit more solid. I don't trust myself yet. Snip those off, snip that one off. Okay, let's get the little isopropyl alcohol. Let's see if we can get this cleaned up, and I'll see if I need to touch that up again or not. the cleanest, but it is done. Do you think I do want to put a little bit more in there? I think it's fine. But I don't really trust myself. Okay, that makes me feel much better. All right, let's get this buttoned up, put back together, and see if we can get this working. I'll fast forward through this part so you're not having to go through the process of me putting everything, reassembling everything. Okay, let's power it up. Just make sure everything's still working. Nothing broken yet. All right, let's set the time. Okay, need to plug the controller in, so let's set the time now. All right. Okay, I'm going to cycle it off and reboot it. See if that's going to work for us. Awesome. Okay, looks like it worked. So it was actually a pretty difficult install for me, just getting the solder out. I would probably rate this from a 1 to 10, 10 being the most difficult, probably a 6 or 7. I've not been doing this for maybe 2-3 months now. So if you're really new at it, it might take you a little bit of time. The big thing is just take your time. But I do want to say it's something I was able to do. It did fix the unit. It took the annoyance of the time away, but it also, more importantly, it saved the board from possible having an issue with the capacitor. I will come back a little later and redo the rest of those capacitors in a different video. I just wanted to make sure I could get that one changed and save the unit. So, well, again, thank you for watching the video. Please subscribe, and thank you.